Come, you accidental pilgrims, you who find yourself on a journey of surprise and wonder. Come, you who emerge into this place as an act of liberation. Come, you who seek a life of mindfulness and a place to test your thoughts. Come, you who bring hearts of all kinds, heavy hearts, rusty hearts, hearts broken open in revelation, hearts full of love to share. Come, you who seek courage, and you who have more courage than you realize. Come, you who stand behind the curtain, gathering up the resources to claim your truth. Come, you who have been in a bubble, you who are poised for transformation. We begin our story again, gathering courage, love, mindfulness, and a sense of purpose. We gather as a people of all ages, of all different abilities, different backgrounds, and different perspectives. We share a covenant, a direction for our shared journey, and a commitment to encouraging and challenge one another to spiritual growth. This path will ask much from us. Let us move forward with love. Let us move forward with appreciation for one another. Let us move forward knowing we are not alone. Whoever you are, whatever your gifts, you're welcome to join this journey. And now let's move forward into the opening hymn. Will you please rise as you're able and willing? I'm on my way.
I'm on my way to the freedom land. I'm on my way to the freedom land. I'm on my way to the freedom land. I'm on my way, great God, I'm on my way. On my friends, come and go with me. I ask my friends, come and go with me. I ask my friends, come and go with me. I ask my friends, great God, I am my way. Ask my family, come and go with me. I ask my family, come and go with me. I ask my family, come and go with me. I'm on my way, great God, I'm on my way. If they say no, I'll go anyhow. If they say no, I'll go anyhow. If they say no, I'll go anyhow. I'm on my way, great God, I'm on my way. I'm on my way, and I won't turn back. I'm on my way, and I won't turn back. I'm on my way, and I won't turn back. I'm my way, great, I'm on my way.
So welcome to the Unitarian Church of Baton Rouge. My name is Nathan. I am your minister for the next month, and then we're going to have a second minister join us. There's a lot to go over. Let's do it this way. Today during middle hour in room 5, will be art and storytelling in tumultuous times. So if times feel tumultuous right now, and you want to make art or tell stories about it, go to room 5 with Leslie. Online people, she's waving at you. In room 6 will be a meet and greet with the minister. That's me. So if you would like to meet and or greet me, go to room 6. And room 7 is the social justice sub-team on voting. So 5, 6, 7. Good? Next week, we normally do middle hour week by week, but next week the reproductive justice team is meeting, and they're having a presentation on a new sexuality and reproductive justice curriculum by a intentionally interfaith, intercultural organization called Sacred. So that will be a presentation next week. All right, so here are the things. Let's go in reverse order. October 4th is Queer Fete. We have all of the musicians, some of the musicians lined up. We are also already selling tickets. If you want to buy tickets, they are available. If you would like to be a supporter, and on top of or independent of buying tickets and have your name listed as a supporter and give money to it, you are welcome to do that as well. So that's October 4th. Then we have on August 2nd, go ahead and show the first slide. We have an auction coming up. You can clap if you feel. Online folks especially, I think it'll work here, but there's a QR code to basically do everything, right? Do we need anything for the auction? Absolutely. We do. Go ahead to the next slide then. We need people who are going to volunteer to sign up to be an auctioneer for one of the items. We need people who are going to be able to donate stuff, wine, but also activities, experiences, services, things like that. Like if you have a $50,000 wedding ring that you want to donate that you think could go for $2,000, don't. We have a art and jewelry sale later in the year. But if you really want to take someone riding a bike with you or host a dinner party or something, or have something really creative, go ahead and sign up for that. And we need volunteers, all sorts. So you could talk to Leslie, or you can sign up at the table or use that QR code. Thank you, Brian. Now I'm going to keep rewinding backwards. July 20th is in 2 weeks. That will be me preaching the winning sermon from last year's auction, because sometimes we auction off the sermons. And then the week before that will be our own Nancy Grush, who will be doing the service. And then the week before that is today. And the preacher today is our own Abel Thompson. Abel grew up in this church. He is also the lead organizer of Together Baton Rouge. He's got a number of other things that he does that are interesting, but those are the two for today that part of the reason we're excited he's here. And he took the preacher pack, and he took the class, and this is the sermon that he's been working, I think, months on. So that is it. That is a lot. Welcome to the church. It's good to be together today.
And now I'd like to invite you into a moment of prayer. And as you're coming into this moment of prayer, I want to invoke the words of my ancestors sometimes before they will go into prayer. Father, I stretch my hands to thee. No other help I know. If thou withdraw thyself from me, oh, whither shall I go? We come before that which is greater than ourselves in gratitude for the fullness of our lives, for the anguish and grief that inform our mission to side with love again and again, for the suffering and disenfranchisement of our people that form in our passion for justice and wholeness, for complex lives, for hard lives, for real, full, and overwhelmed lives. We give thanks for the blessings that we have been given, the reassurance of community, the steady warmth of hope, and the unwavering faith that there will be better days, we give thanks and seek your grace. Spirit of love, come alongside with all the holy nudges that we need so that we may live in such a way that we celebrate all the blessings that we have been given, so we may be blessings in the world. Ashe, Salom, blessed be, may it be so, and amen.
As we transition into stones, I want to acknowledge two things. First is the flooding that is happening right now in Texas. We have both a UU retreat center in Kerrville and a fellowship there that is being served by a minister. I have not heard any reports about how they're doing, but I have not heard any reports that they're not doing well. So I just want to name that this congregation in particular knows about sudden flooding, and I want to acknowledge that. I also want to acknowledge that this week was the 9th anniversary of the police killing of Alton Sterling. I want to acknowledge that there was another instance of, in the paper today, of police killing an unarmed, they didn't give any real details, but I think an unarmed black man. So I just want to name it. They haven't released his name or any footage yet. But just to name and place where we are now in contrast to where we have been on this anniversary. So here's what we have for stones. We have a rule in this church that if you hit 90, we will announce your birthday. And we have an announcement for Maxine Bromelsik, whose birthday was this past week. We also have... We have cards also in the reception area. One of them is for a former member of this church, Drew Hardigree, who is recovering from surgery. We just wanted to send her a little love and support. And then we have a Thinking of You card for Melissa Bordelon. She's a parent in this church. She is in ICU awaiting surgery. She is okay. I mean, it was not expected, and she's on a good path, but ICU is still a big deal, so we're sending her a card. And also, we're not gonna send a card, but just to name Diana Doro, whose son Jeff has been in ICU and is likely soon to be placed in hospice. So, if you would like to, not today, but just in the next few days or weeks, reach out to Diana and see how she's doing. This ritual we have is open to everybody, visitor and member alike. Online, we invite you to type right into the chat your stones, and in person, we invite you to come forward along one of the walls, take a stone, let it represent whatever you're carrying or holding today, and place it in the chalice bowl. We now invite those who wish to come forward as we place the stones. and we say together, with hope to make this a better world, we light this flame. Its light is the symbol of the power of love.
From all that dwell below the skies, let songs of hope and faith arise. Let peace, goodwill on earth be sung, through every land, by every tongue.
Let me give you a word of philosophy of reform. The whole history of the progress of human liberty shows that all concessions yet made to her august claims have been born of earnest struggle. The conflict has been exciting, agitating, all-absorbing, and for the time being, putting all other tumults to silence. It must do this or it does nothing. If there is no struggle, there is no progress. Those who profess to favor freedom and yet depreciate agitation are men who want crops without plowing up the ground. They want rain without thunder and lightning. They want the ocean without the awful roar of its many waters. This struggle may be a moral one, or it may be a physical one, and it may be both moral and physical, but it must be a struggle. Power concedes nothing without a demand. It never did, and it never will.
Exodus chapter 2, verses 23 through 25. During that long period, the king of Egypt died. The Israelites groaned in their slavery and cried out, and their cry for help because of their slavery went up to God. God heard their groaning, and he remembered his covenant with Abraham, with Isaac, and with Jacob. So God looked on the Israelites and was concerned about them. This was the first step in the Israelites' journey to liberation, what theologian Walter Brueggemann calls the public processing of private pain. The first time in Scripture that the enslaved Israelites took agency over their freedom by reminding God of the covenant that he made with their forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Now, I'm not sure what God was doing or how he forgot that they were his people. I mean, they were only enslaved for about 430 years at this point. But anyway, God jumped up from whatever he was doing and went down to earth to find Moses, who had fled Egypt after killing 2 overseers who he had caught assaulting a Hebrew slave. Well, let me explain about Moses. Moses was born a Hebrew, but he was raised an Egyptian. Out of fear that the Israelites would grow in numbers and threaten his power, Pharaoh made a law that every Hebrew boy was to be killed at birth. But Moses' mother defied Pharaoh's law by wrapping him in a basket and sending him down the Nile, where he was found and adopted by Pharaoh's wife. Moses grew into a man in Pharaoh's house until that fateful day when he killed the 2 Egyptian overseers. Although he knew nothing of his lineage, when he spotted the Hebrew slave being beaten, he was overcome with a feeling of kinship and filled with an uncontrollable and inexplicable rage towards the injustice he was witnessing. So God, who had a propensity for violence himself, liked Moses' style and came to him in the form of a burning bush and affirmed Moses' feelings by confirming that he was indeed an Israelite and that he was to go back to Egypt and lead his people out of slavery. To that, Moses was like, hold up, man, I can't go back there. Pharaoh wants me dead. God assured him that Pharaoh was dead and it was safe for him to return, but Moses still objected. God said, Moses, stop being scared and go tell the new Pharaoh to let your people go or else. And Moses was like, well, hold up, man. First of all, you need to chill. And what do you mean by what or else? Who are you? God said, I am who I am. Oh, that clears everything up. Look, I just met you. I just found out I was your people. Besides, I'm just one man and I have a stutter. God said, if I must spell it out for you, I am the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You and those people you left behind in Egypt are descendants of those men, and y'all are destined to do great things. But nothing can happen until Pharaoh lets your people go. Look, if showing up as a burning bush isn't enough to prove to you that I am God, I got something else for you. Take that staff in your hand, throw it on the ground, and see what happens. So Moses did what he was told, threw his staff on the ground, and God turned it into a serpent. See, I'm God. I got powers. Now go get your brother Aaron. He can speak for you. Y'all will demand that Pharaoh let your people go. Then just let me work my magic through y'all. The whole staff and stake thing. And Pharaoh will let your people go. Eventually. Moses said, cool, what? Eventually? God, what do you mean by eventually?
I don't know how to get from that to the offering. Here's what I've been thinking a lot about, and I promise I'll get to the organization we're supporting this month, which is the Gardeer Initiative. I'm very mad at losing my electricity, which happens a lot in this city. And what I've noticed is some of the neighborhoods with means, because they know they cannot rely on Entergy, they just buy generators so that they know, not just for hurricanes, but just regular old, Tuesday losing power kind of stuff. So neighborhoods with means have the ability to individually pay for their, to supplement the lack of the things we should expect from our government and our state. But some of the neighborhoods do not have those means. One of them that I'm thinking of is Gardeer, and so we are this whole month supporting the Gardeer Initiative. This is an organization that is, their goal is squarely to they're not doing specifically energy stuff, but they're doing the things that they need to do to make it so that Gardeer has the things that they should have had because of what they should expect from our city and our state and federal government. So we're going to talk about them the whole month, but this is sort of your introduction to it. Just picture a neighborhood that organized themselves as a way to take care of themselves. So I'll ask you, this whole month, half of everything you give goes to the church and half is going to go to the Gardeer Initiative. So I'll ask you to give very generously as this morning's offering is gratefully given and received.
There's never been a time in the United States history when black rebellions did not spark existential fear among white people, often leading to violent response. There's never been a time in United States history when black rebellions did not spark existential fear among white people, often leading to violent response. Even when the resistance has been peaceful or purely symbolic, such as black fists raised during the medal ceremony of the 1968 Olympics, or a knee taken on the football field during the national anthem nearly 50 years later, any sign of rebellion has frequently resulted in threats or acts of violence perpetrated by white vigilantes, militia groups, and the police, often culminating in the creation or strengthening of systems of racial and social control. The reflexive impulse to respond to Black people with severe punitiveness is traceable to the 18th and 19th centuries, when white people desperately sought to control a large, unfree population who refused to submit to their enslavement. The deep-seated, gnawing terror that Black people might, one day, rise up and demand for themselves the same freedoms and inalienable rights that led white colonists to declare the American Revolution, has shaped our nation's politics, culture, and systems of justice ever since. The specific forms of repression and control may have changed over time, but the underlying pattern established during slavery has remained the same. Modern-day policing, surveillance, and mass criminalization, as well as white vigilante violence, know-your-place aggression, have histories rooted in white fear, not merely of Black crime or Black people, but of Black liberation. Nothing has proved more threatening to our democracy or more devastating to Black communities than white fear of Black freedom dreams.
Exodus chapter 4, verse 21. The Lord said to Moses, "When you return to Egypt, see that you perform before Pharaoh all the wonders I have given you the power to do. But I will harden his heart, so that he will not let the people go." I will harden his heart, so that he will not let the people go. Harden his heart? Why would God feel the need to harden Pharaoh's heart? He just told Moses that all he had to do was do the little staff and snake trick, and Pharaoh would let his people go. What was God trying to prove? That he could perform a bunch of miracles so that everybody would know that he's the almighty one true God? That's pretty petty for an all-knowing and all-powerful creator of the universe. But that's what he did. God hardened Pharaoh's heart again and again. Even after God performed the plagues of famine, and the plagues of locusts, and the plagues of hail, and the plagues of frogs, and the blood in the Nile, God hardened Pharaoh's heart each time so that he would not let the people go. Eventually, even Pharaoh's own people were like, "Come on, Pharaoh, just let these people go. If you keep this up, we're going to lose everything." And Pharaoh was like, "I'm trying to let these people go, but God won't stop hardening my heart." Then it came to the last and most heinous of the plagues that God performed. And this is where we get the Jewish tradition of Passover. Every household in Egypt that was not protected by the blood of a lamb on their door lost their firstborn son. Pharaoh's house was a victim of this plague. And in grieving the loss of his son, Pharaoh went to Moses and said, "Look, I don't want to suffer any more losses. This God of yours has proven that he is indeed a mighty God. I will let your people go." Moses shared the good news with his people, and just as they started that long journey out of Pharaoh's land, guess what God did? He hardened Pharaoh's heart again. So Pharaoh, under God's spell, rounded up all of his men, and just when Moses and the Israelites thought that they had gotten away, here comes Pharaoh. Now the Israelites are starting to get mad, and they start groaning and moaning to Moses, saying, "Man, you done took us out, you done took us all through these plagues. Now you got us out here in the desert, and Pharaoh's on our tail. We should have just stayed enslaved for all this." Then Moses complains to God, and God is like, "Damn, Moses, after all this, y'all still don't trust me? Tell your people to keep it pushing and just let me do my thing." And by the way, this is going to be a theme through the next 3 books of the Torah. The people complain to Moses, Moses complains to God, and God tells Moses to tell his people to chill. So they keep running until they get to the Red Sea, and the people are like, Moses, now what are we supposed to do? How's God going to get us out of this mess, Moses? And Moses is like, God, what are we doing, man? Pharaoh's army is getting closer. And God said, what are you talking to me for? Tell your people to keep moving and do what I tell you to do. So God told Moses to raise his arms in the air, and he did that, raised his arms in the air, and God parted the Red Sea. God let the Israelites cross, and as soon as the Pharaoh's army made it to the seabed, God told Moses to drop his arms. The sea came back together and washed the Egyptians away. After the Israelites saw that, they were like, all right, I guess we can trust you and this God, at least for now. Now this, like I said, this back and forth happened for the next 3 books of the Torah. The people cry to Moses, Moses cries to God, God tells Moses to stop whining to him and lead his people. This goes on for 40 years. And in this time, in this 40-year time, Moses gave the law to the people, taught God out of killing everybody several times. And Moses eventually built relationships with trusted men and taught them how to administer the law. So the burden of leadership wasn't his to bear alone. And in those 40 years, a new generation was born who had no fear about what was ahead of them and no experience of Pharaoh in Egypt, only the traditions that celebrated their freedom from Pharaoh's bondage. And after 40 long years in the desert, they finally entered the Promised Land.
Let's sing again.
Go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land where I'm bound. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land where I'm bound. Come and go freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land where I'm bound. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land where I'm bound. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land where I'm bound. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land where I'm bound. There'll be singing in that land. There'll be singing in that land. There'll be singing in that land where I'm bound. There'll be singing in that land. There'll be singing in that land. There'll be singing in that land where I'm bound.
Liberation and freedom are not the same. Liberation is a process. Freedom is a temporary state of being. It is more of an event we point toward, work for, and hope for. It is the hope of freedom that drives liberation. Liberation is a product of freedom. Liberation is a process of struggle with ourselves and with each other that begets the transformation of all of us to our full humanity. Through liberation, freedom may be made manifest, but that freedom is not a permanent state of being. When we are made whole, we are asked to give of that wholeness. liberation is dynamic. It never ends.
Now, I know y'all ain't think I was about to read the Bible to y'all today. Y'all ain't come here to hear a Bible study. It's going to get real. I'm Bobby and Abel Thompson's son, so it's going to get real. But going through that story, one question comes to mind, and that is, what kind of God would do this to his people, to his chosen people, a people who spent 430 years in slavery? I mean, at that point, hadn't they been through enough already? If he cared so much for his people, why didn't he just pick them up out of Egypt, take them to the promised land, and be done with it? Why did he have to harden Pharaoh's heart so he wouldn't willingly let his people go? Why did he have them wandering around the desert for 40 years? Why did he punish them when they lost faith? I mean, what did he have to prove? Unless one interpretation of the story isn't about God proving anything, or even God freeing the Israelites from slavery, but about the Israelites learning to become a people and seeing themselves as a people worthy of freedom, a people worthy of liberation. This isn't something that God could even bestow upon them. That's something they had to figure out on their own if they're truly going to become a people. Labor rights weren't given to the worker. They were fought for by the worker. Women's rights weren't given to women. They were fought for and won by women. Freedom was not given to black folks. It was fought for and won by black folks. And it was through these fights, through these struggles, that we started becoming a people worthy of freedom, people worthy of liberation. And I can imagine that after emancipation, like the Israelites in the desert, the burden and uncertainty of freedom would have been terrifying for the newly freed, but not yet quite citizens of this country. Just like I can imagine the thought crossing the minds of the forefathers of this country that maybe they made the wrong decision fighting for freedom from the British. Maybe this democracy thing is too ambitious, too messy. Maybe we should just go back to being ruled by a king. And even today, as we celebrate the anniversary of our country's independence, many folks, many of our brothers and sisters, will just as soon shed the burden and responsibility of freedom and turn it all over to a strong man who promises to take us back, a strong man who says, why bother trying to reach the promised land? Turn back to a simpler time. Turn back to a time where people knew their place and America was for Americans. Turn back. Why are you in the desert with these people? These are not your people. You are not a people. Now, the question we are faced with today, the same question Dr. Martin Luther King asked after we won the passage of the Civil Rights Bill. The question is, where do we go from here? Do we turn back, or do we continue the long, uncertain journey of becoming a people?
Let's sing again.
Soon the day will arrive when we will be together, and no longer will we live in fear. And the children will smile without wondering whether on that day thunder clouds will appear. Wait and see what a world there can be if we share, if we care, you and me. Wait and see what a world there can be if we share, if we care, you and me. Some have dreamed, some have died. to make a bright tomorrow, and our vision remains in our hearts. Now the torch must be passed with new hope, not in sorrow, and a promise to make a new start. Wait and see what a world there can be if we share, if we care, you and me. Wait and see what a world there can be if we share, if we care, you and me.
Those of us who stand outside the circle of this society's definition of acceptable women, those of us who have been forged in the crucibles of difference, those of us who are poor, who are lesbians, who are Black, who are older, know that survival is not an academic skill. It is learning how to stand alone, unpopular, and sometimes reviled, and how to make common cause with those others identified as outside the structures in order to define and seek a world in which we can all flourish. It is learning how to take our differences and make them our strengths. For the master's tool will never dismantle the master's house. They may allow us temporarily to beat him at his own game, but they will never enable us to bring about genuine change.
Now, there's a part of this story that I cannot leave out. It would be disingenuous and downright irresponsible of me to leave this part of the story out. When the Israelites made it to the Promised Land in Canaan, modern-day Palestine, God commanded that the Israelites kill all the inhabitants in the land. The people who spent 430 years in bondage, risked their lives to escape Pharaoh, spent 400 years roaming the desert, finally made it to their destination only to commit genocide. Then they established a kingdom with an elite ruling class that was hard to distinguish from Pharaoh's Egypt. Now, I'm not going to draw the parallels throughout history or share my feelings about what's going on in that area today. I'll leave that up to you to interpret. What I will say is that you, me, we are not unique. Our race, our gender, our trauma, our oppression, our ideology, our religion does not protect us from or exempt us from the dominant culture. It is the air we breathe, the water we swim in. And if we are not clear on that, then what are we fighting for? I grew up in this church. This sanctuary was more than just a place to hold service for me. It was and is a sanctuary in the midst of a society that shunned me because I was Black, or because my parents weren't rich and powerful, or because I didn't believe in their God. And I believe that is what brought many of you here to this church. This is a space that allows you to be free to express yourself, to be yourself, and to learn how to grow into your true self. I feel a sense of pride belonging to this congregation, a pride that I'm sure you all share. But in our pride, let us not lose the ability of critique, of deliberation. Let us not judge ourselves against the dominant culture, but judge ourselves by the counterculture we are trying or should be trying to create. Let us ask ourselves, are we as inclusive as we need to be? Or are we just more inclusive than them? Are we as democratic as we need to be, or are we just more democratic than them? Is freedom and justice and equality and love just a belief no more concrete than a belief in a deity? Or is freedom and justice and love and equality a reality on the other end of the desert that we are journeying to get to, even though that destination is unknown? And when we get there, will we include the other in building a new land? Or will we stick to our own and create more spaces of more like-minded individuals? The point is, there is no them. There is no other. People in all their different ways of seeing the world in different cultural, religious, and political frames of reference want a world where they can thrive and live full, whole lives. Ask ourselves, is this circle wide enough to include the fullness and messiness and complicated beauty of it all? We are made strong by the people we are in relationship with, and by reaching across dividing lines to widen our network of relationships, we are made stronger. We are made stronger by investing in spaces that build strong communities and families. We are made stronger by finding joy in the challenge of living and learning and growing together, and by keeping an open heart that nobody can harden. We have yet to reach the mountaintop that Dr. King professed, and we may still be wandering in that metaphorical desert, but I do not believe that our centuries of struggle have been in vain, and we are not turning around and going back. I want you all to remember what our history and our sacred text teaches us, that we are a people, and we are worthy of love, worthy of freedom, worthy of the holy, worthy of liberation. Now let's sing.
From the light of days remembered burns a beacon bright and clear, guiding hands and hearts and spirits to the faith set free from fear. When the fire of commitment sets our mind and soul ablaze, when our hunger and our passion meet to call us on our way, when we live with deep assurance of the flame that burns within, then our promise finds fulfillment and our future can begin. From the stories of our living rings a song both brave and free, calling pilgrims still to witness to the life of liberty. When the fire of commitment sets our mind and soul ablaze, when our hunger and our passion meet to call us on our way, when we live with deep assurance of the flame that burns within, and our promise finds fulfillment and our future can begin. From the dreams of youthful vision comes a new prophetic voice, which demands a deeper justice built by our courageous choice. When the fire of commitment sets our mind and soul ablaze, when our hunger and our passion meet to call us on our way, when we live with deep assurance of the flame that burns within, then our promise finds fulfillment and our future can begin.
From arrogance, pompousness, and thinking ourselves more important than we are, may some saving sense of humor liberate us.
For allowing ourselves to ridicule the faith of others, may we be forgiven.
From making war and calling it justice, indifference and calling it tolerance, pollution and calling it progress, may we be cured.
For telling ourselves and others that evil is inevitable while good is impossible, may we stand corrected.
God of our mixed up, tragic, aspiring, doubting, and insurgent lives, help us to be as good in our hearts as we have always wanted to be. Amen. Go in peace.